2025. We please begin by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a roll call, please.
Mrs. Eisenhardt? Here. Mr. Hefner?
Here.
Mr. Hohenschel?
Brian's here.
Mrs. Tier?
Here.
Mr. Reitenauer?
Here.
Mr. Sheets?
Here.
Mr. Stubitz?
Here.
Mrs. Walliser?
Recognitions, and I will turn it over to you, Mr. Potter.
Yes, and I will actually turn it right over to Mr. Pinelli. Mr. Pinelli is our athletic director and has 3 different recognitions, one for our track team, and then another 2 recognitions for our volleyball team. So, Mr. Pinelli.
Thank you, Mr. Potter. Thank you, board. Are we working today? Yes, we are. Okay, user last time. So first, athletics. Few acknowledgments today. First one, we've met this individual a few times. So before I even talk anymore, I'd like for him to come back up. One of our senior athletes, David Bates, and his family, please. And then Coach Gene, would you also walk up? So David Bates finished his career out at Brandywine Heights Area School District on a pretty high note. David won to the state meet, I think with high expectations, but per usual in David Bates fashion, he exceeded those expectations. He took 2nd overall in the 200-meter dash, and he took 3rd overall in the 100-meter dash, capping his career off for Brandywine Heights. And those who know anything about track, they're probably one of the more popular events, and those athletes are fast. But David, beyond proud of this gentleman. He did forget the medals, but again, we will make sure we get those and we'll put them somewhere. Extremely proud of him. And Coach Gene's going to say a few words about David.
Okay. What can I say? We're back, right? And with a great reason. Celebrate a lot of great successes here. When we started, when the winter speed and strength development course started in January, David had already been working out in November. And at some point early on, I had asked him, I was like, so what are your goals this year? And he said, just matter of factly, we're going to states. Just like that. Like it wasn't even a consideration. This is what we're doing. And true to his word, that's what we did. Unfortunately, he'd be passing forward into his life and leaving us behind in his wake. But what he leaves behind is a great legacy for our younger athletes. We have a lot of great sophomores on the team and no returning juniors for next year. But a lot of sophomores who can look up to David and say, this is what he did. And he did it through hard work. He did it through dedication, and he did it through staying focused. All the greatest things that you can ever ask of a track athlete. So silver medal in the 200, bronze medal in the 100 at state finals. I mean, that's really a fantastic season. So thank you, David. And thank you all. Thank you.
David, let's get a group picture. Yeah, you get him.
David, do you want to share a little bit about what your next steps are?
Oh, geez. Okay. You'll be. Okay. So I plan to attend Kutztown University to also run track in college and become a math teacher, and also want to coach one Mulder. So, yeah, that's about it.
Good stuff.
That's it.
Thank you, David. Thank you, family. Good job. Up next, just before I get started talking, I just want that our boys volleyball team and coaches come on up, please. Boys volleyball team and coaches, come on up. Okay, anyone who knows anything about volleyball, usually height plays an advantage, but we take that to a different level. We are very athletic, very motivated, disciplined, and hardworking. This group finished 8th in the state. They went and took on finished third in the district. This is true. They care about each other. They had a fantastic first round game at States. They took the team to the fifth set. I'm sorry, no, in the districts to make it to States. Took Linville Hill Christian, who we played early in the season, took them to 5 sets. It was an electric atmosphere here at Brandywine Heights. They went on to play West Shamokin, which is not the Shamokin that's an hour away. It is way out west. They took, you heard the sirens, the tour bus, a 5-hour trip. They did work there. They came through, won the final 3 sets, and then they faced a juggernaut in the 3A. They were a 3A state championship last year in volleyball. They took them first 2 sets, fought hard, but ultimately losing. But again, couldn't be prouder of this group of young men. And we have one senior who we love, we care about so much, but they are fantastic. And I would put Brooke on the spot. If you come up and say a few words about your fantastic team here, please.
Yeah, I'll try. I mean, what you said was right on the nail. An incredible group of kids to work with. They came in every single day and worked hard and got better. We only had 7 on the roster, and for those of you who don't know, only 7 play at a time. So it was a little difficult keeping everybody healthy and injury-free. And it kind of got on top of us a little towards the end, but they really muscled through it, didn't complain, worked really hard, and we're all really proud of them. And we're fortunate enough to have pretty much all of them back next year. So hopefully you'll see us again this time next year. So thank you. Yeah.
Let's get a group picture. Austin, you can hang up. Great job, gentlemen. All right, I want to invite Austin's parents up as well. We have one final recognition. We're to finish with the volleyball athlete here. Similar to basketball, baseball, 100 hits, 100 wins, volleyball, 100 assists. Austin is a junior. He eclipsed this early in the season, so he has a career 100 assists at Brandywine Heights. We are super excited to see him finish his career out and see where that takes him. We know the bloodline is strong there in volleyball. So again, Austin, congratulations on your accomplishment. Awesome. Next up, thank you.
Awesome. Can you share a little bit about your next steps?
Well, my next step is really to get 2006 next year and be here again.
Yep.
And that's pretty much all. I don't really have much.
Thank you. Next up, we're going to do a grant recognition, and I'm going to ask Mr. Farina to share a little bit about this grant the district received.
Good evening, everyone. And again, congratulations to all of our student athletes and families. Tremendous accomplishments this spring. So earlier this school year, the district, we applied for a $75,000 Pennsylvania SMART grant through the Pennsylvania Department of Education. From what we were told, this was an incredibly competitive grant to obtain. There were over 250 applicants throughout the state. 50 school districts were awarded the grant in total, and we were one of 3 Berks County school districts to have been awarded the grant, along with Fleetwood and Ole. And we're excited for this grant because, as we've talked a little bit before through some of our strategic planning and goals for our high school, we want to look at making authentic experiences for students, and that's the tenor of this grant. We're using the majority of the funds for this to purchase new equipment for our wood shop. And then our agriculture program and woodshop program will be working with local community partners, namely Salt's Sawmill, who is a long time in the lumber industry in our community. And what our students are going to be doing is learning about the lumber industry. They are then going to be using this new equipment from the wood shop to create furniture that we will be providing to members of our community that might be in need or through some of our local businesses. So again, it's giving our students a real world application of life in the lumber industry, as long as those real productions in agriculture and in wood shops. So this grant will be funded through the next 2 school years. And again, as I said, we'll be purchasing equipment. and then getting kind of this business off the ground for our woodshop and agriculture students. So incredibly appreciative to the Pennsylvania Department of Education for this award. We're excited to get to work on it.
Next up, we like to do our New Heights Award, which is essentially like our Employees of the Month award. We have 2 awards this evening, but actually 3 people. 2 of them are a tag team, and so I would like to start off by recognizing Michael Furman and Olivia Lambert. If the 2 of you don't mind coming up here, this is why and then Mrs. Kircher, if you don't mind joining us. This is the write-up for both Olivia and Michael. And it's a little lengthy, but it's for 2 of them, so that's a good thing. It is a great enthusiasm that I nominate Mike and Olivia for the New Heights Award in recognition of their unwavering dedication, exceptional work ethic, and the positive impact they have on both students and staff. Both Mike and Olivia consistently go above and beyond in their role as school psychologists. Their willingness to step in and support students in need, whether through one-on-one support, crisis intervention, or behavioral consultation, reflect their deep commitment to student well-being and their success. Their responsiveness to staff concerns is immediate and thoughtful, offering guidance that is both practical and grounded in compassion. Beyond the day-to-day responsibilities, Mike serves as the lead safety care point of contact. His ability to de-escalate, problem solve, and foster positive change is truly commendable. Additionally, Olivia serves as the internal coach for the Patton Initiative, working in the elementary autistic classroom with staff navigating challenging behavior scenarios. Their willingness to learn and train demonstrates their dedication and approach and professionalism, helping staff feel supported and equipped to handle complex situations. Whether providing targeted interventions for students or collaborating with teams to build effective behavior plans, this dynamic duo contribution elevates the quality of support across our school community. Their presence brings reassurance, their input offers clarity, and their actions reflect a deep-rooted passion for helping others grow. For all these reasons and more, both Mike and Olivia exemplify the spirit of the New Heights Award. So, congratulations.
Good evening. So I am honored to acknowledge both Mike and Olivia. They are a central component of our pupil services office that support the district across K-12 setting. Both of them are not just dedicated school psychologists, but they are also pillars of support, innovation, and care for our students. Their contributions, as exemplified with what Mr. Potiker shared, extend far beyond just their job descriptions. They also provide that individualized student support, respond to crisis situations, consult with staff on a continuing basis, and consistently lead with empathy, professionalism, and with purpose. So congratulations.
So I have your mug. There you go. And your certificates. There we go. Oh, that's the way you should do that. No. Take a look there. Perfect. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. So our second nomination this evening is for Derek Mounts. Derek, if you don't mind coming up, Derek is our longtime elementary custodian, known by everyone at the elementary school, loved by everyone at the elementary school. Here is why Derek was nominated. If Dean and Steph want to join while I'm reading. Derek does a great job keeping our school clean and safe. Derek is very helpful, hardworking, organized, and detail-oriented, dependable, and conscientious in completing his duties. We are lucky to have Derek on our team at the elementary school. Congratulations.
All righty. To echo that, we feel very fortunate to have Derek on our ES team. He's very deserving of this award. He keeps the daily building operations running smoothly and is so knowledgeable on any random thing that needs to be fixed anywhere inside or outside of the building. He is super organized, helps keeps all of our storage areas organized, and not just organized, but inventoried. He works with our admin assistants to, when he counts the stuff, labels it on boxes, he asks them to make an Excel, and we keep track of everything that we have, which I would not be able to keep that area clean without him. He works quickly and efficiently and can be trusted with to get any job done and know that when you give him a task, he'll get it done very well. So thank you for everything you do for our team daily. You're the best.
You want to share a few accolades?
Let's keep it going. You guys stole all my stuff, but Derek, I can't think of anyone that's more deserving of this than you. You really, I think Ms. Kelly will say, you are the backbone of the elementary school. Tremendous effort you put in every day is certainly recognized. Your definition of a dependable, you approach each task, big or small, with dedication, precision, and pride. Not just hardworking, you're consistently hardworking, right? I like to say that, right? So whether it's keeping the school spotless, tackling unexpected challenges, or just quietly making sure everything is running as it should, Derek can be counted on to get the job done. So thank you. Congratulations, Derek.
Put you on the spot. Do you know how many years that you've been at the elementary school?
At the elementary school, 25.
Congratulations. Awesome. Do you want you hop in over here? I'll see you on this side. Doing a great job. Much better than Olivia. Nice job.
All right, congratulations, everyone. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to Board of Directors report. They get a motion.
Changes that are in there pertain to some language changes, terminology going from police to law enforcement, safe schools to now school safety and security provisions. It would have been easy just to make those changes and keep our existing policy, but it's all linked on the back end when those little numbers are in there that link to the school code there. It was all adjusted there. So it was easier just to adopt the PSBA. So really all that to say, not a ton of changes, but it is the PSBA recommended policy. Also, we're recommending we adopt the 103 essentially the Title IX discrimination harassment policy for students, and then 104, same policy for staff. As we all know, Title IX was released in 2024. It got overturned. And so this policy and what we're recommending to you is the new PSBA policy that they have vetted through the legal process. They took the Title IX took essentially the good things that were in the 2024, which was the efficiency of the process, and maintained that, and everything else was reverted to the 2020 Title IX rule. So essentially, this is the 2020 Title IX provisions that have been adjusted with this slight modifications of the processes, not necessarily the action items in Title IX. So all that to say, these are the recommended PSBA policies. They revert back to the 2020 version, which is now the current law. I know this has been a lot of conversation with the board back and forth, but this is kind of the summation and the final tally of where we ended up with that, with the PSBA recommended policies. Any questions on that before I move off of those first reading policies? Item C is second reading policies. We went over those last school board meeting. Really no significant changes or updates that have been made since we presented those in May. And finally, item D, every year we need to appoint a school board treasurer. That term is for 1 year. It runs from July 1 until June 30. And so we are looking to receive and appoint a school board treasurer for the upcoming year. Mr. Sheets is the current school board treasurer and has been for the last several years. I will turn it over to you for nominations.
All right. First off, Mr. Sheets, are you still interested in continuing the role? Absolutely. Is there any opposition to Mr. Sheets continuing in that role? Hearing none, you're a lucky man.
Luckiest man on the board.
There you go.
All right, so that will read then appoint John Sheets as school board treasurer when we vote on this. Finally, we have committee reports, and I'll turn it over to.
Thank you, sir. BCIU, Mrs. Hume.
Good evening, everyone. I submitted the written report for the BCIU board meeting, which occurred on Thursday, May 15th. Just a couple of quick highlights to point out. One, the BCIU is launching a cybersecurity initiative to help address a growing concern in that arena related to K through 12 education. Of course, we outsource our technology, and so we have Nimble IT as a very strong partner, but it's something that we certainly want to stay aware of in terms of that capability. The virtual penetration, that VPEN testing, is proactive testing of vulnerability, and so some school districts are proactively getting that testing done to try and highlight areas of vulnerability. So I know, Carly, you're on top of that. So thank you. The BCIU board also approved the hiring of a new assistant director in the IT world, guy named Ben Grimm. He's coming to us from the school district of Philadelphia with a pretty interesting IT background, replacing Sherry Zimmerman, who many of you who've been around a long time may recognize her name. She's been at the BCIU for 35 years of service. So big change there. I do also want to highlight there was a bus driver competition that the BCIU hosts, a school bus safety competition, and an individual from Christ Transportation named Pamela Little was a top 10 finisher. In fact, that driver, Pam, got a 4th place. So I'm not personally aware if she's a Brandywine driver under Christ or if she serves a different district, but is she ours? No. Fleetwood. Okay. Well, in any case, it was exciting news. 2 new contracts from transportation or related to transportation, a 5-year contract that the BCIU won for Kutztown Area School District, and a 3-year term contract for Exeter School District in relation to transporting BCTC kids. And then the final thing I just want to call out some props for some individual Brandywine Heights students who participated in the 43rd annual secondary art exhibition, which is held over at the Goggle Works for like 2 months. Student art More than 1,700 original works of art are displayed, and the following students from Brandywine won recognition or awards. So Ellis Klein, Willow Lawman, Bella Zikowski, Mason Stroll, Asher Yost, Lila Weller, and Paige Carvalho all received awards. So congratulations to each of them. And it's a great exhibition and a great opportunity for our young students to compete and display their artwork in all sorts of neat categories. So thank you for that. The next meeting of the BCIU Board of Directors is the third Thursday of the month. I don't have the date in front of me, sorry. I can tell you in a second. That concludes my report.
Thank you, ma'am.
24.
BCTC, Mr. Right now.
BCTC met on May 28th at the East Campus. We had our student recognition ceremony. We, Brandywine, recognized Madison Herring for second place at HOSA, Brandon Lenhart for first place at State Leadership and Skills Conference, Owen Miller for third place at State Leadership and Skills Conference, and Deborah Longacare got the JOC Scholarship for Dental Occupations. Congratulations to our students for a great year at BCTC. I would also like to inform you that we, as a committee, gave Dr. Stauffer 100% commendable performance and agreed to give him a 4% increase, 4.5% increase. Last, I'd like to mention that Dr. Stauffer was nominated for PA Association of Career and Technical Administrator, which our own Mr. Potiker has wrote him a recommendation. So we would like to wish Dr. Stauffer the best. Next BCTC meeting is June 25th at the West Campus. And I also like to mention that Mr. Strohecker joined us and congratulate all our students. So thank you for being there, Mr. Strohecker.
Shared a little wave down the aisle. Good time.
Yes.
All right, thank you. EITC, Mr. Garrico.
I have nothing to report. The next meeting is on June 26th.
Thank you. Cool, Mrs. Walliser.
I also have nothing to report. Our next meeting is September 9th.
Thank you. Policy Committee, Mr. Ridenhour.
Just refer to the agenda, please.
Planning and Goals, Mrs. Eisenhart.
There will be a presentation of goals tonight. I was able to meet with Mr. Potiker May 23rd to go over those in preparation for the presentation. So look forward to that.
Floor is still yours. for
Nothing to
negotiations.
report under negotiation.
Thank you. Building and Construction Committee, Mr. Potiker, I'll turn it to you.
Yeah, just a couple of quick updates on building construction. The wood shop expansion project and the greenhouse project. We have the permits from Longsong Township, the MBDS permit from the DEP we're waiting on, but we do have a verbal confirmation we can start the project for that wood shop expansion without the MPDS permit because it's wrapped in the same project but kind of separate. So we're waiting for that in writing. We do have a kickoff meeting on Wednesday, June 11th. That's this Wednesday with all the 4 contractors. Again, the general timeline, we'll get some more specifics on Wednesday, but the general timeline is they're going to do a lot of the greenhouse work and the start of the work project over the summer here. The whole thing will be done by hopefully December, January of this school year. So essentially like a 6-month project. In terms of the track and field project at the high school, going back to permitting, we are still waiting on the DEP MPDS permit. We understand it is currently in the review cycle, that we are on the table or next on the table. We are anticipating that it sounds like anytime there's a MPDS permit type of thing like this, there's always comments that come back. We'll respond to the comments, and then the DEP has 30-day turnaround to respond back to those and essentially give us a permit at that time. So the anticipation is mid-July we will have final permitting for everything to move forward. Things are with Longsong Township at the same time, and so those things are going hand in hand with the permitting, and Longsong's essentially kind of waiting for DEP to make their final recommendation, and that'll go pretty quick there then hopefully. We also have the multi-use permit, multi-use press box building. That permit has been applied for as a construction permit. And so we are waiting to hear back from that. And again, similar to the wood shop, it sounds like we might be able to get started with that ahead of the MPDS permit as its own kind of separate project. So that's a good news because that means we can lay foundation and get that project going ahead of that final DEP MPDS permit. So we had that in a verbal, waiting on writing on that, and that will allow us to green light to move forward with that. So that's where we are with projects. It's kind of a waiting game right now. No major construction occurring, but we are as soon as we get those pieces of paper, it's full throttle to get this thing pulled together. That's the end of the construction.
Thank you, sir. Any board questions or comments? Hearing none, can I get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Eisenhart,
Yes.
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Hohenschel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hude,
Yes.
Mr. Reitenauer,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Walliser,
Yes.
Mr. Wagman,
Yes.
9 yeas, the motion passes.
Thank you. Business and operations report. Can I get a motion in a second?
Motion right now.
Second, Stubitz.
All right, thank you and good evening, everyone. Sorry, this is going to be a long one, but this is the annual process. So to start, as usual, we have the bills list and financial statements. The bills are through June, and the financials are through April. So when next time we meet in August, we will have the tentative year end, the pre-audit June financial statements for you, as well as May. So budget transfers to report, special education, pupil services. A lot of these are related to 25-26. The first one is to approve the LEA agreement for the Pennsylvania School-Based Access Program to continue in that program for 25-26. The next one is to approve an MOU with Berks County Head Start as required by the Every Student Succeeds Act as attached. Item 3 is to approve the agreement for special education services for 25-26 with the BCIU at a cost determined by the classification of service as listed. Essentially, there's nominal increases here and there, probably just to keep up with increase in costs on their end. Item 4 is to approve a service agreement with Pediatric Therapeutic Services for speech services beginning August 1st at $80 per hour. Item 5 is to approve the notice of assurance with Explorations Partial Hospitalization Program for student placement for the 25-26 school year for the medical component at a cost of $89.25 per hour for up to 6 hours, as well as the psychiatric intake evaluations at a cost of $250 per hour for up to 3 hours or $750 for the evaluation. This is no change from the prior year. Item 6 is to approve an agreement with Carbon Lehigh IU for student services for 25-26 at a cost determined by the classification of services as attached. Item 7 is to approve a 2-year agreement, June of 25, so as of now through June of 27, with New Directions Treatment Services out of Wyomissing to provide student support services as attached. The next one is to approve a 1-year agreement, August 1st through July 30th, 26 with St. Luke's Physician Group for medical services provided by a school physician as per Business 8. Just a little note on this one. Typically, we do a 3-year in tandem for dental and physicals. We were unable to find a provider that would do a 3-year agreement. Our current provider, St. Luke's, was willing to at least give us one more additional year. So that's what's attached, and it's $1 increase per physical and $1 increase per hour. So we will have to revisit this at some point next year. Curriculum instruction is to ratify an amended agreement with IU 13 for server co-location beginning July 1 of 25. The original agreement, which was board approved in February, was for 3 racks, and now we have transitioned to 4 racks. Item 2, we do this annually and will continue, is to approve the Berks County Education Technology Pool Council Consortium, the share consulting services provided by Sweet Stephen Katz and Williams at a rate of $577 annually. There's no increase from the prior year. Item 3 is to ratify an agreement with Delaware County Intermediate Unit to provide consortium access to a new email security system beginning July 1, 25 through June 30 of 26 as attached. Shifting over to facilities and maintenance, the H items, item 1, and a lot of these are for 25, 26, either service proposals for the buildings and grounds department. Item 1 is to approve the proposal with alarm tech suppression to inspect the kitchen hood suppression systems and fire extinguishers for the 25-26 school year at an estimated cost of $2,496. And that can obviously increase or decrease depending on the amount of fire extinguishers. Item 2 is to approve the list of unneeded, unnecessary equipment and to authorize the administration to recycle, sell, dispose of the items as per H2. The red tag yard sales tentatively scheduled, rain or shine, June 24th. Item 3 is to approve change order number 1 from Nevco Sports LLC to include the submission of permits and mobilization costs to finish the installation of the school board. The estimated completion date is August of 25. The change order cost was $3,960 as attached. Item 4 is to approve Ronnie C. Folks paving proposal for repair of the intermediate middle school loading dock entrance. This is where the oil tank was removed at a cost of $5,275 based on the overall value rather than the lowest bid. Item 5 is to approve the food service department maintenance and repair quotes as attached. These are no changes from the prior year for preventative maintenance with Longacre to do the commercial food service refrigeration equipment at a cost of $3,950. Item B is to approve the annual service agreement with K&D Factory Service to do some of the food service equipment as well for 25-26 school year as attached, as outlined in the attachment. Item 6 is to approve the 2025 service agreement with Reading Bearing and Drive Solutions for the annual inspection and preventative maintenance of emergency standby generators located at all 3 buildings. Services include routine maintenance, testing, and upkeep to ensure that the generators work when we need them. The cost is not to exceed $2,040, and that's up $25 from the prior year. Item 7 is 2 parts. One is new, but it's more of a collaborative to combine or streamline our softwares for athletics and buildings and grounds. So item A is the ML Schedules software and athletic integration for ML Schedules at $2,570. And item B is ML Work Order software for the facilities department, no change from the prior year. This was part of our goals last year to transition to master library. We have done so, and now we're taking it essentially one step further and integrating our athletic scheduling and also outside our rentals really into one system rather than duplicating efforts and entering it twice. So item 8 is to approve the agreement with Evans Mechanical of Leesport for the annual boiler and hot water heater maintenance agreement at a cost of $2,850. It's up $100 from the prior year, or at a cost of $3,155. I'm gonna have to double check that one. I think there's a typo there, but we'll come back to that one. So item 9 is to approve an agreement with Keystone Fire and Security of Allentown for the 25-26 multi-system support agreement at a cost of $2,579. That's compared to, it was actually $19,000 this year. And that was because we switched to Verkada camera and access control systems. Item 10 is to approve the 3-year agreement with HC Lions, resulting from the RFP to provide district-wide HVAC maintenance services as outlined. So basically, year 1 is $266,000, year 3 is $288,000. On the plus side of this, it really is like a comprehensive, like parts, everything is included. So no additional costs. So really eliminates the risk on our end. And they're our current provider, so we've had a really good working relationship with them. Item 11 is to approve a change order at the high school athletic stadium project with Ace Electric to install access points, network switches, racks, door access cameras in the press box, and to install fiber lines from the high school building to the press box at a cost of $23,359.60. Item 12, this is part of the wood shop and agriculture project to approve an agreement with JJM Plumbing out of Germansville, Pennsylvania to complete the plumbing work of the high school wood shop expansion and greenhouse at a cost of $41,600. So you can see a note there. There was 4 primes in this project, as it is the case in a typical construction project. We received no plumbing quotes, so we went out and obtained 3 quotes to satisfy doing our due diligence, so that we can get the project moving. Item 13 is to approve a change order with the high school athletic stadium with Schlau Incorporated in the amount of $4,056 to address and remediate a sinkhole that developed in the corner of the field per business H13. Item 14 is to approve the proposal of Keystone Fire and Safety of Allentown, Pennsylvania for alarm system monitoring at the elementary school, intermediate school, and high schools for the 3 years at a cost of $3,155 annually. All right, so moving back up to the other one. Yeah, I think you.
That is the rate when you look at the backup, the 2,850 is correct.
Yeah.
That's on the agenda.
Yeah, because the last one we just approved is $3,155.
And then the previous one was 2,750. So
Yeah. Okay. So that is indeed the lower price of the 2,850, as I had read off. All right. So item I is we actually had previously approved this without pricing, but we're going to ratify the proposal from CSIU for the use of their financial software as per Business I. This will replace the e-finance application that is currently being used via the BCIU. The estimated costs are as outlined. The asset inventory, that'll be $1,900. Fund accounting, $6,672. Human resources, $3,637. Payrolls, $7,281. And the staff portals included in the HR payroll piece. So all in all, this is about half the price of our current BCIU e-finance system. So certainly a cost savings there. And I believe it's much more user-friendly in my opinion, but our staff are getting used to it. And then as you can see below, there are some one-time setup fees and startup services for the data conversions and really everything that we're going through right now. So July 1 is our go live date. We're getting there. So item J is to approve the agreement with Long Swamp Learning Center to operate before and after school childcare at the elementary school. As for Business J, we've had a longstanding relationship with them. There's no additional increase rental costs on their end. We simply just increase the custodial rate that they pay to align, really cover our costs for our staff. The next one, item K, is to approve the bundle agreement with Frontline Technologies out of Philadelphia related to our professional learning management, absence and time solution management, recruiting and hiring, employee evaluation system at a cost of $37,979. This is up $1,979.96 from the prior year. The next item L is to approve the agreement with eTaxTrack Software and Services for 25-26 with the BCIU at a cost to be determined by the classification of services. The last one is to really just wrap up the school year from the transportation piece, is to ratify the updated list of drivers, and this would include basically anybody from the last time we did the update to the last day of school. Item N is to approve the agreement with TransFinder. That is our transportation software at a cost of $6,600. There's no change from the prior year. There is a little note here. Market Connect, you'll see that on the attachment, is $1,425. That's actually a piece that Christ uses, and they really just reimburse us. Item O is to appoint Berks County Tax Claim Bureau as the district's 25-26 delinquent real estate tax collector for commission of 5%. That is paid by the taxpayer if paid by the taxpayer within 31 days of legal notice. Taxpayers are responsible for the 5% commission if tax is paid after 31 days of legal notice. Item P is to approve our tax collectors for the 25-26 year. There is no change in those 4 individuals. Item Q is to approve a one-time service agreement with St. Luke's, or a 1-year service agreement with St. Luke's Occupational Medicine out of Bethlehem to provide our drug and alcohol, basically our pre-employment drug testing for 25-26, and there is no increase at that point. Then item R is to approve the business insurance package and workers' compensation proposal from Arthur Gallagher for the 25-26 school year at an annual premium of $209,190. That's a $17,000 increase from the prior year. You will see $16,581 of that is related to the property coverage. There was 11% increase, and really that was our property values being reassessed. They do that, I think, like every 5 years. That included the improvements here and also at the elementary school. The one thing I will note here, speaking of cyber insurance, we are going to it's a statewide program built specifically for school districts. So cyber insurance there, I think it actually went down rounding about $2,000. So that's a new program that's starting up. The next one is to approve the food service bids with CAFCO for 25-26. Within the bid, we have bakery, Morabito, ice cream, Hershey's, tea, Swiss Dairies, grocery, Feasers, and Cisco. Cafeteria, paper and smallwares, as they call it, is Singer Equipment. And there is no longer a milk bid. There hasn't been for a couple years. So we're going to continue with our longstanding partner, Clover Farms. The next 2 is really to cover this evening through our next board meeting, August 11th. Item U is to authorize the business manager to release disbursements for expenditures from the 24-25 school year, normally held until board approval, but to continue operations from June 9th to August 11th with ratification at the August 11th board meeting. Item B is to acknowledge that to authorize the business manager to pay bills as necessary during the 25-26 school year in accordance with School Board Policy 616, payment of bills. The next one, continuation, is to authorize the business manager to make 24-25 budget transfers after June 30th, 25 as required to prevent year-end over expenditure of the subfunction object account codes. That is to be in preparation for the year-end audit. Just a little FYI, the audit is going to be very early this year. It is probably the 3rd week in August. So that's probably the earliest we've ever had it. So we'll do those budget transfers well before our next meeting. Item X is.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Jump back to T. I think you might have glossed over that one before you jumped into the budget.
Oh, I totally did. Yes. The next one is to approve a 12-week food safety and sanitation feasibility study agreement with Food Safety Solutions out of Delaware to provide a 12-week feasibility study with the district's food service department to help ensure kitchens comply with our existing foods plan, along with local, state, and federal food safety regulations. The study will take place at 2 of our buildings, the elementary and the high school, at a cost of $240 per month per site. And I know there was questions about this one. Really, the feasibility study is to help them learn a little bit more about us and determine if our rate's going to be anywhere from $2,100 per school per year or $2,400. I did specifically have them put the clause not to exceed $2,400 per building. So what this really is there's no problem that we're trying to fix. It's really a proactive solution. We have 3 new head cooks in the buildings. This is really going to educate them. There's some training involved, but basically they'll come out at least once a month. The biggest part is the chemicals that they buy. We're probably going to spend around $7,000 this year. And they provide all the chemicals. They come in, they refill them. Everything's color coded. So, you know, what you can use on certain surfaces, whatnot. They do all that for us, and really just to do almost like if you were a health inspector, do once a month, and having 3 cooks, and really just the added layer of services, and also training toward their continuing education hours, really included in the cost of what we would typically pay for chemicals anyway. So we thought this was really, you know, a value added service rather than trying to solve any issues. So we want to keep those clean, free health inspections and kind of support our new staff. So that's that one. The next one is X, is to approve the following 25-26 general fund final budget adoption and tax items. To approve the 25-26 general fund final budget totaling $36,979,261.25, reflecting a 2% tax increase to increase our mills to 36.9794. And yes, Mr. Reitenhauer, you are correct. That will make us 4th highest. So we did drop there. Item 2 is to adopt the 25-26 tax resolutions as attached. Item 3 is to adopt the 25-26 homestead farmstead resolution that provides for a maximum $418.16 real estate tax reduction for approved homesteads and farmsteads, funding by gambling tax funds, Philadelphia tax credit, and prior year over under, for a total of $1,370,064.62. So the next one, no action required, but really just a reminder that on June 4th of 2012, the school board did approve a resolution allowing for installment payments, so people can pay in three installments without penalty. The next one, item 5, is to authorize the business manager or designee to assign fund balance as needed to balance the net revenue and expenditures for the 24-25 fiscal year. That amount will be determined at the completion of the audit process. Item Y is to ratify an agreement with St. Luke's University to complete an employee evaluation as per business Y. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to go over the budget piece just a little bit. So you did get a handout, which is really the routine. You can see the state form and kind of the tracking. And then you also do see, you know, the final federal programs, basically flat from prior year. Our state funding did go down. That's not final, but it is budgeted down. So really did shift that reliance to the local tax base. On the bright side, and it's actually going to go out in the newsletter. Basically, for the typical household, this 2% tax increase would have a gross impact of $78.22. With the increase in the homestead farmstead exemption, that actually basically shaves off $60.58. So your net tax increase for the typical household per year is an increase of $17.64. You break it down, and that is $1.47 per month. So really to kind of put that in perspective of the change from the prior year. Again, that will go out in the summer newsletter, and really talk about basically in layman's terms and graphics to give you an idea of really where our budget is. The state went down by 0.07%. And we actually, right as we were ready to walk into the meeting, we did get our federal programs information. It went down slightly from the prior year. So that's really where we're at. Pretty close to the proposed final budget that we saw a month ago. No significant changes to that. But if you have any questions, I'm willing to answer them.
Question on X1. Are we all in agreement on 2%, or do we want to consider 1.5? Can we do 1.75? And then my next question is if you do the Homestead Act, like you were just talking on Nicole, if we did 1.5 to 1.75, is that like not raising taxes at all?
So to answer your question, would it be as if you were not raising taxes at all?
The Homestead Act.
Yeah. So yes. it would almost be net zero. Um,
Does anyone have an opinion on this, or?
I'm a firm believer that we stay at 2.
I just wanted to know how everyone felt.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just giving my, like I said, I'm giving my input. I think that 2 is where we live. So,
I think some of the reasons were some of our stuff coming up with the Mountain Village and the programs we're adding and just kind of setting ourselves in a good position without putting too much of a financial impact on the taxpayers. That's where I stand.
yeah, the big hitters were really, obviously salary and benefits, salary increases, 10% health insurance increase, really just the cost. Like you said, there might be some increase in student services costs. But other than that, there was nothing that stood out substantial. We do have a new IT contract, a new one increase in transportation, a lot of contractual increases, but nothing out of the norm. Really just increase in operations. We did have a good bit of savings from retirees. But yeah, I mean, should we have gone to a 1.5 or 1.75, it probably would have been close to a net zero. But at this point, it's $17.
We were kind of pushing there, the item each had, which is that Evans Mechanical HVAC maintenance piece. That's a plus $100,000 that wasn't planned for or anticipated. So the contract ended, that jumped up significantly. So that is a big driver of the last minute change that we had to adjust for, which is part of the conversation about the 2.
What is the percent increase on that contract?
100% doubled.
So it usually be about 130,000 a year?
Mhm.
I think we should reflect that in the language of these bullets. We often do. I guess that one was missed, but.
So that, you know, we talk about the 2% rule, that would be a big driver of part of the increase to be able to balance our budget out.
Yeah, I know it was in the weekly update, like a full in-depth analysis 2 weeks ago.
Do we have, on that topic, do we have an update from the state budget? I know you mentioned the federal numbers just came in this afternoon.
No, I don't think they'll have a budget by June 30. So I just have what the governor, I have his proposal versus what people, hearsay anticipate. But basically I just did flat from last year.
Okay, so that's the plug,
Mhm.
or the assumption that it's flat, that we wouldn't get anything incremental.
Correct.
That we won't necessarily
Yeah,
lose
I mean,
anything.
well, actually, to be honest, we're going to get less because they took away the charter school reimbursement, the cyber charter. So that was about $48,000 offhand. So when you take away that funding stream, we'll actually be in a negative. So from the state. And then, do you want me to answer any of your questions from the email?
I don't, I didn't really have a chance to process it all, but.
Okay.
yeah, I can move back
If
to
you have
you.
any follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate some of the depth that was provided.
Yeah, I think the only noticeable one that I want to point out, and maybe just so the full board knows, is really the refunds. They're called unclaimed checks. I know that was one of the questions. So every year, basically, we have to turn over any outstanding checks that are 3 years or older. Basically, they go to the state as unclaimed property. We've tried to reach out to the individual or entity that it was written out to. Say we refunded a parent some kid's lunch money, and they've moved away. It's $20 in 3 years. Instead of it being on our outstanding check register every month, we turn that over to the state. And then they have a nice website. If you go in, type your name in, maybe you'll get rich. But no, there's really some outstanding money. You can get it from the state. So that's where every now and then you'll see a list of those of unclaimed property. That's really what that is.
I don't think I'd ever seen that before, or if I had, I didn't remember. Or
We haven't.
question it. Yeah.
I think this year was probably the most we had. And I say that, I think there was 5. Typically, we don't have any. So,
Are there any other questions or comments in regards? We do have a request to vote on all items except for item X. Those who made a motion a second, are you in agreement with that? Yes. All right.
so it's a reconfiguration, but it's really an upgrade of or a replacement of some of the furniture that's in the intermediate middle school office. Yeah, it's where Mackenzie and Sharon are. So for several years now, some of the furniture has, broken. They're using temporary furniture. Stuff's just on misplaced and found furniture. So the agreement was at the beginning of the year, if they had money left over in their budget, we could buy furniture. We had a plan mapped out. We're actually going to have our maintenance guys do some of the work in-house. We replaced the rug last summer. So they painted the walls, and they're going to build them a shelf, and kind of the furniture that we get, we're going to kind of fit it in. So I would say good bang for your buck, about 12 grand, basically remodeling their office with the help of our guys and kind of a 2-year plan with leftover dollars.
There's an acronym here, DWE funds. Can you just spell that out? What does that mean?
District-wide equipment money.
Could I get a roll call for all items except for X?
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Hohenschelt,
Yes.
Mrs. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Wallizer,
Yes.
Mrs. Eisenhart,
Yes.
Mr. Wagman,
Yes.
9 yeas, the motion carries.
All right. Now, could I get a roll call on letter X?
Mr. Hohenschelt,
Yes.
Mrs. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Wallizer,
Yes.
Mrs. Eisenhart,
Yes.
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Wagman,
Yes.
9 yeas, the motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you. Superintendent's report. Could I get a motion in a second? Motion right now.
Second, Stubitz.
The floor is yours, sir.
All right, a couple items under superintendent report this evening, but before we get started into those items, we do have a board presentation to give you an update on the TSI plan. That is a targeted support and improvement plan that we've been working through with the state. I'm going to invite Mrs. Kircher to come up. I almost said doctor, not quite yet. I don't know why. This plan has been a plan that was triggered by a state finding that we had to do this plan, but then it was a good process in terms of we were able to bring students, we were able to bring parents, we were able to bring staff into evaluating what are we going to do to address these targeted areas that the state has identified. And so that's what I'm going to turn over to Mandy to speak on what those areas are and what our process has been. So.
Okay. All right. So thank you. So in looking at our TSI plan, and the process that we've been going through. Just to give you some background on what targeted school improvement is about. This evolved from the Every Student Succeeds Act, and it is focusing on looking at our future ready index scores. Within that dashboard, the system is set up to identify schools who are not performing in regards to different indicators and specific areas or subgroups. So specifically for us at the high school, we were flagged for the following subgroup for the 22-23 school year. So we were looking at students with disabilities and the following indicators within that subgroup. So looking specifically at achievement for math and ELA, and then also the graduation rate for the 4 and 5 year cohort group. So when we looked at the indicators, which at the bottom of that slide, you can see the achievement for math and ELA combined. Our score was at 11%, which was lower than the actual targeted score that we needed to meet. And then for growth with math and ELA combined, we were at a negative 3.5. And our graduation rate for the 4 and 5 year cohort fell short as well in regards to what the state set as a target for us to meet. And we were at 74.51%. So as a result of being identified for targeted school improvement, we need to create an improvement plan. We needed to follow through with different steps and have meetings with different groups. So our first step was to meet with the local BCIU. They have a task force there that meets with all districts and basically sets up assistance for the district to walk you through the process of what you need to include in your action plan, make sure that you include in your outreach, get feedback from stakeholders throughout your district. So we attended those meetings, created, shared, and held stakeholder holder meetings in both April and in May. During the 2 meetings in April and May, we collected feedback from our stakeholders. We shared more specific data within the areas of ELA and math, as well as the graduation rate. And from there, we evolved and created different action steps. So we have to create a plan that gets presented to the state, similar to like the special education plan. And in that plan, you have to identify a vision, you have to identify key priorities. So that was a portion of what we had the committees in April and May look at and provide feedback on, and then help develop that with us. So our key priorities out of that, those 2 meetings were to focus on academic interventions, strengthen our support systems for students, focus on student motivation and engagement, and also refine and look at our professional development and ensure that our PD for our staff is really focusing on those different areas where we need to improve. From there, we then created some goals, which they identify as priority challenges within their plan. So our first goal was to focus on that math piece. And out of that, we had to identify a SMART goal, which is up there for you to review. Each marking period, we have to identify different targeted areas that we will need to check on. So first marking period, we've identified here that 95% of our special ed students in a Keystone Math will take their first CDT. So each marking period, we have things identified in that action plan to ensure that we are moving towards improving that area. We did the same for our English and language arts. And again, very similar to the math language, because we were trying to keep things consistent for the classes for the sake of just the students that we're dealing with in those classes, and knowing that some of them do have specific needs that are written into IEPs. So it does make things a little bit more challenging to ensure that we are in fact developing things that meet the guidelines of the IEP, but then also meet the requirements of the action plan. Our third piece, if it'll go through, then is looking at identifying what that action plan looks like. And we had to identify the different steps, put in date ranges for that, identify the materials and resources along with professional development that goes along with that. So from the lens of our committee, which included Mrs. Flam, who's here in our audience as department head, we had Mr. Strohecker, Mr. Jenich, Mr. Farina, Mr. Kemp, Mr. Ware, some of our staff, and then we also had community members that sat in. We looked at the action steps, tried to align it to different things that we know we want to set as goals for next year too, and ensure that students then are in fact receiving some of the one-to-one conferencing, utilizing and understanding the data from their assessments, whether that's CDTs, whether that's actual test scores and things that are happening in the classroom, math and English, and using that information to identify areas that they can improve upon or things that they are doing well. And then again, when we look at that output, we want to see that academic growth. We want to be able to go back and monitor and evaluate things that have been working over the course of those 4 different marking periods. We also have in here the improved instructional practices. So that goes back to some of the things that we're going to be also focusing on next year with our teachers, with development of what that one-to-one conferencing looks like, to ensure that we're providing the professional development that they then are then going to be rolling out in the classroom. And then our professional development next year is going to focus on understanding and utilizing their CDTs, which is that assessment piece. Again, the one-to-one student conferencing, and then looking at instructional strategies for math. So that's the targeted school improvement piece. Are there any questions? Go ahead. So it will be reviewed at the end of the year. Yes. 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 Correct. And I will say, in looking at our CETA report that just came through today, our graduation rate met requirements. So correct. 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 Yes. Yes. And again, the state operates differently in regards to what they look at. So we're constantly trying to stay on top of that too. And you can see from like our plans for professional development for next year, we already had identified the one-to-one conferencing prior to this TSI designation. So we are trying to link things together to make it work in a manner that's going to support both our staff and our students. Go ahead. So if we don't, then basically we'll be working with them on a second year. So that does happen to some school districts, and some do have to go into year 2. And again, that's looking at, well, what your plan was and what you need to refine. Yeah.
This sounds like a huge undertaking, so thank you so much.
Oh. And I must say, like the team that we've had that met, and the parents and things that came out and participated in our 2 meetings that night, it was very helpful, and it's good to see that community support as well. All right.
But I was just going to add a point to that. So the state, you go year after year, and they don't notify you if you successfully met your goals. You just don't receive notification that you're on it again. But we've spoken to, yeah. So, you know, in addition to all the great work that Mrs. Kircher's team did, and we worked through, we are the 12th out of 18 districts in Berks County who have worked through a TSI plan at some point in the last 5 years. So in talking to those schools, it sounds like most make progress in year 1. They will repeat the process in year 2. But as long as you are making those goals and hitting that impact, that is ultimately what the state is looking for. Because my guess is your thought is this is a lot to accomplish in 1 school year. So I think the state is cognizant of that. And that's why, as long as you're working towards those goals, following the plan with fidelity, that's how that's viewed. Yeah. Obviously, it's our goal to be off. So, sure.
Yeah. And with our compliance monitoring for special education too, some of our action plans and for corrective action overlap with this piece too. So it is, we can kind of attack 2 things at the same time. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
On slide 1, you showed the score that we had that you said was below what the state wanted.
Yes.
Do you show what the state
So I'd have to pull it up, but they do have, I can share that with you after this. They do have it in their reports. I did not put that on there.
In ELA, we're within a point and a half. Math is significantly far behind.
But I will say, based on our recent data, there are areas where we did improve. Now, there's still, I think, 2 areas that came back for 23-24 as did not meet target, but compared to where we had been with, I think there were 6 areas total for 22-23 that did not meet. So there is improvement.
Yes.
Have gone through or have they found themselves in this situation?
Sure.
Is it all special needs students, or do other schools find themselves in this situation in the larger regular ed population as well?
So that's a great question. It actually can go either special education or regular education. The majority of the districts that we've spoken to, they were designated for very similar data points to us with special education. So I think TSI plans for special education are more common, but it is something that, a school could be triggered for with their regular education population.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And I should mention as they walk back, this has been a collaborative process, obviously, with everyone. We talked about staff, parents, students involved, obviously the 2 of them steering it, but there's also been a big driving factor with the high school administration as well, with Mr. Shoacker and Mr. Jinnich have been partnering that as it's targeted specifically at the high school. So they've been heavily involved in that. That being said, I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. We're going to talk about the end of year goals report. In your packet and link is it's a 15-page, it's actually an 18-page document. 15 pages of that are the details of the goals that we have went through the end of year analysis. That being said, there are, just as a reminder, 5 overarching goals to focus on communication, school pride, high quality instructions, number 2, safe and supportive learning environments, number 3, engagement and connections is number 4, and then the final one is enhancing school district facilities and resources. So I'd just like to take a moment and highlight some of the high level things that were accomplished this year. The Bullet Points newsletter is something we started and has gained a ton of traction. We switched to a print edition this year, and that has really taken off. We mailed them to some individuals that signed up for mail copies, but we also put them out in the community. And we continually have to build how many we're purchasing. I think it was, I handed out during our exec session we met the other week. Sorry. I think I might have said it's in your packet. I misspoke. I'm sorry. It is linked in the board agenda though, if you have an if you're electronic. Sorry about that. I can get you another hard copy if you'd like. You can have mine afterwards, but not right now. I need my notes. Thank you. Sorry. So Bullet Point newsletter, that's going really well. Again, we're continually purchasing more and more print editions as we put them out in the community. That people are just taking them all over. So that's a great thing, getting a good community message. As Nicole mentioned, we're going to do a big highlight on the budget and try to get some awareness out there about the financial stability, the conservative nature of what we've done as a school board, and where we've been able to make some positive strides in terms of investment in the program, but also being mindful of our fiscal responsibility. So that's a great article that's coming up. Summer feed program. We all know that was a huge success last year. We got state awards for that. That is starting this week. We ended last year with 230 students signed up, or 231 students signed up. We're starting this year with 230 students signed up. So basically, minus 1 student, we're starting exactly where we ended last year. So really excited about that, and hopefully that'll continue to grow and build. And huge thanks to Friends of Brandywine for supporting that and essentially paying for that this year to make that happen. We also had a POW MIA flag ceremony that occurred here in December in partnership with Representative Maloney, the VFW Berks County chapter, and then the chapter 131 Vietnam veterans. That was a great event, and we now are flagging our POW MIA flag at all our school districts. Finally, under the communication side, we held our annual education showcase and mindfulness event this year. And this year, it was, I think, our largest crowd ever. We had now 200 participants that showed up for that event. So that was a great turnout. Under the instructional side, ensuring high quality instruction, continued that focus on early childhood. Our pre-K programs are still continuing to thrive. Right now, we are at 22 enrolled students for next year. We have 10 open slots, but we are getting close to filling those at this point. Bullet Academy program that Mrs. Acosta runs, we're now touching and connecting with 170 students that are not 5 years old yet. So not all 170 are coming out at events, but we have connections, and through those, Mrs. Acosta is doing constantly events. There's calendars going out of all the different things she's doing. She's going to continue that over the summer. Another neat thing we started this year is she helped with the kindergarten screening process for our pre-Ks coming into kindergarten, and students that we felt like could use a little bit of an extra boost before they came. She's doing sessions with them over the summer to give them that boost before we start them in kindergarten in August. So that's a great addition this year. In partnership with that early childhood and the Bullet Academy and that whole piece, the Education Foundation is going to now pick up. We've been doing the Dolly Parton Foundation, where you get a book a month from birth to 5 years old. That was through a grant with the Kutztown and Fleetwood Rotaries. Unfortunately, that grant ended, and so the Education Foundation jumped in and is going to pick up that for perpetual moving forward. Continuing on high quality instruction, we've really invested heavily, and I think Mrs. Kircher's presentation illustrates this, but we've been focused heavily on a data-driven approach and really analyzing data, how we're using data for classroom instruction, but also on the intervention time. We've carved out intervention time at all three buildings now: elementary, intermediate, middle school, and then high school. And so using that data continues to be a strong point for us and continues to grow. We're going to continue manipulating that. That's one of our focus points for this coming year as well. The ag program, that was brand new this year. That took off. Tons of students that engaged in that. Most recently, we had a Bring Your Tractor to School Day. That was huge. The FFA chapter was officially chartered in January. Another huge win for the school district and for our students in this, that are in part of this program. And they go to States tomorrow. That's right. Yep. That has just been a great opportunity, and obviously we talked about the construction earlier, building a greenhouse now for it. So really good stuff. And then you'll see later on in their superintendent report, we're going to approve the small animal science curriculum because that's going to be the next course we're going to add, small animal science. So next one to join the ranks and list of education programs as part of that ag program. We also shifted to the new steel science standards. Huge credit to Mr. Dada, the department head, and Mr. Farina for leading that charge for the last few years. But this was kind of a really big push to get that implemented. ELA, English Language Arts curriculum, K-5, was a big focus area this year, as well as, if you recall, Mrs. Kircher was here not too long ago presenting the 3-year special education strategic plan that's required by the state. We're starting our own strategic plan. When I say our own, the district-wide strategic plan. And the special ed one is always, for some reason, a year off. It's how the state incorporates it. But as part of the district-wide one, we need a special ed one, but it's not quite in line with what the one that Mandy has to do for special ed. So we did the special ed comprehensive plan. That's for 3 years. It'll get woven into now what we're going to kick off as the comprehensive plan for the district moving forward. Safe and supportive learning environment. It's hard to remember, but this is the first year we now have a certified school police officer. Mr. Officer Tony Curcio has done a phenomenal job. He's connected with students. His presence has been so positive. He's out playing basketball with kids. He's made connections in the community. He's handled some very tough situations as well. So that's been a huge win for us. This year also we received that $500,000 grant where we installed the Work AI tracking system with the security cameras, as well as the automated door system, so that if doors left ajar, it sends warnings out to the office staff, to the administration, so we can catch any doors that might be propped open purposely or unintentionally. We did 102 holiday meals that were sponsored by Friends of Brandywine and other local organizations. That was for the winter and spring, so 102 meals that went to families during holidays. And then this year, we also developed the in-school suspension program in partnership with Mrs. Honich and Mr. Jinich with the Virtual Academy, because it's a Virtual Academy program connected to the high school and some student behaviors, and trying to have students reflect on not just punish, but reflect on what happened and how do they make, who did it impact, what's that behavior change, and hopefully learn from that opportunity. Under facilities and resources, of course, we had the athletic stadium project. That's a huge undertaking this year. So far, as I think most everyone knows, softball fence is in. All the throwing events are in. The grass has been removed. We now have a stone soccer field to play on. It's really nice until we get the turf on. The base of the track is down. We haven't put the final coat on until all the other pieces are finalized. And as I mentioned earlier, we're just kind of waiting on that DEP permit to finalize that. At the middle school, a lot of upgrades that have been done there as well. New scorers shed that happened this year, new portable restroom that happened this year, completion of that concrete plaza for viewing. It was really neat. We got to see that in action with field days that happened most recently, and with the intermediate, middle school, and families came out. They were hanging out up top there. It was a good precursor to what it will look like when we get to the fall sports. So that was neat to see that in action. And then we also installed new fencing and backstops here at this building that happened this year. And then switching gears back to the high school, we also did the high school greenhouse and woodshop expansion, RFP process and approval, and that will now, as mentioned earlier, will begin construction this summer. We had several contracts. So we had a new teachers BHIA contract that happened. Nicole alluded to several of these when she talked about the budget. We also had a new Nimble IT contract. We also have a new copier contract, a 5-year copier contract. We have a new contract with Christ Transportation, the bus company. We have a contract extension with ESS Paraprofessionals, and we have a contract extension with STS Substitute Services. So a lot of contracts that just unfortunately all fell at the same time, but we negotiated that through, and with all those contracts, and of course everyone wants more money when you negotiate a contract, we were still able to pull that 2% off, which is a huge win. And finally, in terms of huge wins, the district this year received over $1,200 in grant dollars, which, what did I say? What did I say? Sorry, $1 million, $1,200,000, and that's a huge credit to Mr. Farina and the entire administrative team for monitoring that, for creatively writing grants. He mentioned the one earlier, that's that $75,000 grant that we talked about at the beginning of the meeting. So that is an awesome win for the school district, and really proud of all the accomplishments that happened this year. Huge thanks to the board for supporting this, for seeing the vision out. This is part of that strategic plan process. So as we engage in the strategic plan this fall, that will then start to lay out the next wave of what our goals are, the Gantt chart, figuring out what our annual year-to-year goals are to accomplish all those things. And there's things that get added and massaged a little bit along the way just based on changes in initiatives and things that pop up. But overall, really proud of everything we've done here, proud of the administrative team, all our staff for the good work here with our goals. So any questions on the goals?
I'd just like to.
A lot of good stuff.
I have one quick
Yeah.
follow-up question just on the grant dollars, and it's sort of related to back to the budget. So 1.2 million in grant dollars, fabulous. Do we have our arms around what portion of that becomes money that in future years we have to then backfill ourselves?
No,
Even a ballpark guess.
do you want FTEs or dollars?
Dollars is what I'm thinking. So if we were sort of gifted through hard work and lots of groveling, I'm sure. No, excellent grant writing. We received 1.2 million in sort of quote unquote free money. Point in time forward though, do we have to replace that same $1 million in our budget? Or is the vast majority of that 1.2 million invested in like a one-time expense that won't be needed, that doesn't need to be continually funded? So if it's a staff position, you're going to continue to fund that from money coming somewhere. But if it's a, I don't know, something,
else, a book that you buy once, you don't have to buy that book again.
Sure. So, and obviously I can let Mrs. Delgarico speak to her portion of this as well, because I think a big part of this as well is the grant writing, the collaboration with the team to see where we're going, the amount of time and effort on the fiscal side of this for the business office to manage all of these grants and make sure that we're hitting all of our reporting deadlines is just tremendous. So again, it's a huge component of what we do in the grants world through the business office. And I think, you know, the Title I funds, those are the areas that are continual staffing, because that is typically used to fund our intervention teachers. And as we said, we got those dollars about, I don't know, an hour before we came in here this evening. We're receiving $4,023 less next year, so relatively flat funding, which is pretty much spot on where Nicole had estimated it to be. But over the past 4 years, that amount has gone down by about $50,000. So that's an area where we look at from a staffing perspective, you know, where those funds continue to go. And I know there's talk that for next fiscal year, 26-27, all of those title dollars may become block grant funds, but that's all yet to be seen. But the majority of it does go to programming. You know, so when we look at a lot of the work for the greenhouse and woodshop expansion, that's to get those things in place and up and moving. The camera project was a huge component of that. That gets that up and moving. The only thing that would occur with the cameras is that licensing will need to be renewed, I believe, 5 years from now is when we would need to tackle the licensing for the cameras. And then, you know, pre-K is another one that does fund staffing. But again, it's that entire program. And, you know, we have that through the next 3 more years in our partnership with the Berks County Intermediate Unit. And that's something that, you know, we will then assess and reapply for when that grant comes up. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I think that the majority of it is things that it's paid for and in place. But
And I would say it wasn't intended, but the last page of your packet this evening was actually showed the decrease in federal programs of the last several years. So you can kind of see that decline just happened to be there. And then also I would say there's 2 other positions that if they would remove federal programs in general would be the SRO. And then we also have 1 internal role that is funded by PCCD dollars.
So there used to be there used to be 2 separate buckets of money for PCD is the safety security money. And it was safety security and then mental health. And they combined that together. So right now that grant, we're running it on a 2-year cycle. Right now it's paying for the security officer right now. And then we should get another one with this budget wave, and that'll pay for the social worker for the next 2 years. If that money would go away, that would be a direct hit. We'd have to make that decision for the social worker if we want to maintain that. The security officer would be a harder conversation because that's part of the mandate that came out. So we'd have to wrestle with that one a little bit. We could apply for a waiver because the money went out. But, those would be 2 positions that are specifically grant funded that would be a tough conversation. The others are a little bit more programmatic, like the Title I. Yeah, we've seen a reduction, but we shouldn't say always. We always receive that, and the pre-K that is set for the next 3 years, so we should be okay with that for now. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Those are the 2 big staffing ones though that are concerned.
Yeah.
The rest is more exactly how you outlined it. One-time purchases of equipment that we can absorb or not have to worry about perpetual spending.
And I just think, just lastly too, that especially when we look at the agriculture program being a new program, and I know when we shared this as a potential program over a year ago, we looked at, you know, this could be a cost-heavy program. We have been able to defray a lot of those costs through grant dollars, and those are grants that the state does offer every year. So as you know, as Mr. Pottinger shared, we'll be looking to approve the next 2 courses. As we get ready to write the next 2 courses over this year, there will be grant dollars that will hopefully support you know, the resources to get that program up and off the ground.
Any other questions on goals before we dig into the agenda items? Under the agenda items, there are quite a few superintendent agenda items this evening. The first one is to approve an overnight trip. It's for our high school music program, band and chorus, to go down to Florida next April 12th to April 17th. That is a trip they do on a periodic basis. The cost per student would be $1,800. Item B is to approve the high school graduates. We had 113 graduates. Thank you for everyone that was able to attend. Wonderful graduation ceremony. Little teaser, next year, we're here understanding from Kutztown University that we can still use the field house, but we're not allowed to use anything else like staging areas. The following year, we can't use the field house at all or any facilities. So we're already talking about bringing graduation back here next year and having it out on the new field. So more to come. That's the teaser. I'll let you know. We're in initial plans on that, but more to come. That should be an exciting opportunity for us. We have the first reading of a few curriculum pieces here. That's C, D, and E. It's the K-12 technology curriculum. That's our STEM program that we have, K-12. We also have D, which is our new U.S. government and media curriculum. We expanded our social studies requirements, and so now there has to be 4 social studies / history courses that a student has to take to graduate. Mr. Freeman's going to talk about that a little bit and what that means, and the strategic reason why we put that in the year we did. And then item E is to approve the first reading of the new ag program, which I mentioned earlier, the small animal science. Rob, do you want to speak to those real quick, and then I can finish up.
Sure. And before I talk about the curriculums, just going back to graduations, just because we always have a constant audience member, Mrs. Chapper, I want to congratulate you and both Ash and Julie on their graduation. But when we look at these curriculums, so the K-12 technology, as Mr. Pottinger shared, is our STEM curriculum. So we've talked a lot over the last couple of years of the PA Steels standards, and that has been primarily in the science classrooms. But the second E in Steels is for engineering. And our STEM courses are a great area to hit those standards. So what you're looking at with these courses are not any type of major revision to the classwork. Our STEM teachers, Ms. Womack, Mr. Mark, Mr. Schmidt, and Mr. Sheeler, they looked at our existing curriculum. They looked at the new standards. And kind of weighed out where are we already hitting these new standards, which we were already hitting approximately 90% of them, but just made sure that those standards are now in our documents. And then the areas that we did not hit, areas that we can weave that into the existing curriculum. So not major changes to that coursework, just ensuring that we're aligned to those new standards for those courses. For the U.S. Government Media course, as Mr. Pottinger shared, this graduating class was the first one who needs 4 full credits of social studies to graduate. Our government class had always been a half credit course. We looked at this needing to become a requirement to graduate government. So we want all of our students to have a background in U.S. government before they leave our doors. And then looking to broaden that and make that a full year course where we're looking at government and we're looking at election. Because we know that a lot of our students, either in their senior year or after they leave us, will be their first chance to vote in an election. We want to make sure that we're giving students a strong background in our government and also what they should be looking for as they look to vote for the first time and what an informed voter is. So that's how we took that half-year course and made it a full-year program. And this was something that our social studies department chair, Mrs. Coast, has been championing, and we felt that this would be a good time to expand that into a full-year course for our students as they are looking to fulfill that 4 credits for social studies. And then lastly, the 2 agriculture courses, the supervised agricultural experience course, which is very similar to an internship. If you had a chance to review that document, it does not look anything like any of our other curriculum maps because it's not a course where there are standards and objectives from the standpoint of what you're going to be teaching, because it is our students' opportunity to go out into the workforce and to complete some type of project in the agricultural sphere. And then Mrs. Sheeler, our teacher, works with the students to make sure that that course or that their work aligns to the standards they need to hit. So that's why that looks a little bit differently. We could have put it into our format, but it looked really weird when we did. So that's why it exists as it does. And then small animal science is that first part of the veterinary line of agriculture. So that course is being rolled out for next year. And then the following year, 26-27, is when we'll see a curriculum for large animal science. So those are our 2 additions to the agriculture program. And I think, as Mr. Pottinger shared some of the really neat highlights of the ag program this year, It's really important to note that Mrs. Sheeler, our teacher, in her first year out of school, while doing all of these amazing FFA things, was also writing curriculum for new classes. So she has just been a tremendous asset to the district, to the high school, and to our students. So we're very excited to see where that program goes in year 2.
Mr. Freed, I have a quick question on reading the curricula for the small animal science. There's a section there that really overlaps what I historically viewed as biology, right? Like all the body systems and all that fun stuff. So it just dawned on me as I saw that and had that sort of aha. Are we having any interdisciplinary link across from bio to this vet piece?
So we absolutely are. And that's one of the purposeful reasons why we included agriculture in the science department, so that Mrs. Sheeler has an opportunity to really collaborate with the high school science team, especially the biology folks. And I think, what you're seeing is what was so eye-opening for us when we started investigating the agriculture program is there are so many links to other areas. So when you look at a student who might be going down a biology path, this is an elective they can take that really hits on what they want to do, their interest level. So, it's not, I think it really kind of pushes people's expectations of what agriculture is. And I think with this course, the small animal course and then the large animal course, you really are going to see that science link. And I think it is truly a neat part of it. And as our high school team has shared, the increase in student enrollment next year. So we had already about 18% of our students participating in an ag course this year. That number is up over 20% for next year. So as we add these classes, it is definitely, gaining traction with the student population.
Give credit to Mrs. Sheeler for all the work she's done as a new teacher. She's done a great job. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Under item F, that is to approve myself to make employment commitments to candidates over the summer. Essentially, what it allows me to do is extend contract offers over the summer. Historically, what we've done, just as reminders, we'll give you week by week, as well as a tracking sheet of any employment offers that are extended. So you can see that, know what they are, and then also have the tracking sheet to keep up with that. And then in August, we would just go back and ratify that. The idea behind that is that we don't lose somebody in terms of waiting and they have another offer and they take that. So appreciate that willingness of the board to do that annually. Under continuation, kind of on curriculum lens, G, H, I, and J are to approve textbooks. So we had the recommendation of the Reading Language Arts. This is the K-5 textbook. This is a new revamped series, same series, but an updated version for K-5 ELA. We have the Ag high school food science textbooks for Ag. That's high school food science. We have under I, the biology textbooks, new biology textbooks. And then under J, it is 6 to 8 Science Alive textbooks, again, to partner with that Steele's curriculum we were talking about earlier. Item K is to approve an articulation agreement with Del Val University as part of the Ag program. We have to have a partnership with the university. Del Val is a great partner for this. And there's dual enrollment credits as well as then an opportunity for students to transition down to Del Val if that's something they're interested in. Item L is to approve an agreement with Millersville University for student teaching placements. While we don't have a ton of students that come up from Millersville, they reached out to us in the thought process of there might be students that are coming from that Reading area that might want to do some experience up in this area. Mr. Freedom met with them, was very satisfied with their program, thought it would be a good match. So figured no harm, no foul by having the agreement just in case there might be a student. Our primarily partnership is with Kutztown University and then somewhat Albright as well, but this adds another layer to that. And then finally, I went over the goals already, but this is the approval of the end of the year goals. Any questions on those items? Textbooks while Mr. Freeman's here? Yeah.
I was just curious, in terms of the employment commitments, do we have any openings right now that are still not fulfilled, especially in terms of teaching?
Yeah, so in terms of teaching commitments, we have an 8th grade learning support position open. And I'll talk about this in a minute, but we have a 4th grade classroom regular ed teacher position that just that just went live. And then we have a full-time payroll position, not professional staff, but payroll position as well. Those are the three. We actually, I feel the last 2 years we went through a little bit of a different process. During the budget process, we started really analyzing with all the retirements, where are we, how are the shifts, and I bring all the administrators together. We start doing a lot of pre-planning of what that's going to look like. We started the process through the I do that superintendent advisory council, and one of the things they suggested and what we implemented was doing a survey out to the staff to see if there's anyone interested in moves. So we gathered their input, went through that interview process internally, and that allowed a lot of dominoes to happen. And then it allowed us to then know what those final holes were to fill. We went through interview processes, and that's how we were able to, tonight we hired a physics teacher, a kindergarten teacher, and so a lot of opportunity to capture people early before they get swooped up by someone else. So this worked pretty well for us.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Righttower,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Mrs. Wallizer, Mrs. Eisenhart,
Yes.
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Hohenschuld,
Yes.
Mr. Weigman.
Yes.
9 yeas, the motion carries.
Perfect, thank you. I do need to get a motion and a second to enter into an executive session prior to our personnel report. Motion, right.
Second, Stubitz.
That being said, we will come back and reconvene into the general session.
Motion right now.
Second, Stubitz.
All right, now we need a motion and a second for the personnel report.
Motion right now.
Second, Stubitz.
All right, the floor is
Keep it on a roll. Yeah.
All right, we have a couple items under
with 3 minutes.
personnel report. Thank you to those in the audience for bearing with us. Sorry about that. So under personnel report, we have the exception number 1 to terminations and non-renewals. This document and what it is there's a list of employees that kind of were hanging out on personnel records that we that have become inactive over time. Majority game workers and coaches that we needed to clean out the system. So there's 10 of them on there of the list of individuals that we're asking you to essentially formally inactivate in our system. Number 2 is to accept the retirement of Mr. Roth. He is a long-time maintenance worker with us, and he will be retiring on September 5th. So that's exciting news for him. Item A3 is the transition from a part-time payroll position to a full-time payroll position, which we have advertised for. Item B is a change of status. We have Mrs. Amy Rohrbach, who is an intervention specialist in this building, intermediate middle school, transitioning to 6th grade learning support. She wanted to go into that role. That created the opening for intermediate learning support. So Mrs. Corey Zimmerman, who was the intervention specialist, and then when she came back from maternity leave, the position with ESSER dollars was collapsed, and so she went into a 4th grade classroom. She's going to go back into that intervention specialist role, which opens up the 4th grade position. So Mrs. Walleyes, when you asked what an opening was, that's how we get to the 4th grade. Okay. Mrs. Wendy Pristash is officially retired this year, but she will be retiring in the fall. And so we're going to shift her from high school business teacher to intervention team and building substitute until October 23rd. And similarly for Mrs. Lori Savage, who has been a longtime kindergarten teacher for us, 35 years, she's going to go from kindergarten teacher to supporting the intervention team, and similarly until that October 23rd date. We have some appointments as well. We have the appointment of Miss Alexa Sheets. This is the one I had spoke about earlier. We were really lucky to secure this lady as the new high school physics and science teacher. She blew the team away. In fact, it was almost like jump into my van. They recruited her, ran her over here to my office, and set me up with a meeting before she was even allowed to leave, so we could lock her in and get her contract. So pretty much, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
100% what it sounds like.
She,
So wait, was it the free candy or was it the lost puppy? How did you get her in the
it was
van?
candy. It was definitely candy. She is. She blew the interview committee away, and so we're really excited to bring her on. Recent graduate from Elizabethtown, I believe. We also are shifting Mr. Tyler Kemp into, not shifting, he's going to be an ESY teacher this summer. And then Miss Leah Geringer, who's our certified school nurse. It's just as a modified approval for her rate to be $25 an hour, and that's the modification of $25 an hour. We have support staff, the 3 individuals listed below, food service staff to help with summer meal packing. I talked about the success of that already kicking off in our first week here. We have the ratification of the seasoned summer painters. It's a ratification because they started today. So we have 4 painters there on the list. We also have the ratification of appointment for Avery Pottinger as a seasonal worker. We also kicked off the summer workers today. There's 16 student workers working for us this summer, which is really cool. We did a kickoff meeting today with Mrs. Zaga, Mr. Molatoris, Mr. Mertz, the custodial supervisor, went over expectations, and that was a great way to kick it off. Great group of students this year, and looking forward to accomplishing a lot of projects outside the normal scope of what we've been able to do. So love that we can hire our students. It gives them a wonderful first experience as a teaching position or as a working position, but also helps us tremendously. So we had the approval under co-curriculars of the athletic coach recommendations. So those are listed in there with bolds on those individuals that are new hires that would be different from what you would have previously seen in prior seasons. We also have the approval of a couple positions that are new and outside of what we have done for positions in the past. So the first one is to invest in the JV boys high school JV boys soccer and the high school JV girls soccer positions. The number of students that are signing up for these sports has tremendously grown. And so that's why we're asking to create this. We'll continually monitor this. If this is not needed in the future, we'll bring it back to the board and ask and not fill that in future years. But for now, it is a need. Also, we're asking for the creation of a scoreboard operator. This is a new co-curricular position. The stipend set would be $3,000 if approved. And the idea is that we have a new digital scoreboard at the high school, essentially like a big TV that needs someone to be able to create content. It needs someone to be able to operate it at a high technology skill level. And so that's why we're creating a position to specifically focus in on operating that. They would also be the one responsible for being at the games. And I believe if you look at that memo, there's 30 plus games that they would be at in the fall. We also have the approval of Miss Leah Geringer, the certified school nurse I spoke about earlier, to be the nurse coordinator. We created that position earlier. And so she's going to oversee all the nurses this coming year. We also have the approval of your department heads for this coming year. So that's a good list of staff members there that are going to be leaders for the different curriculum areas. Under D, we have to rescind the appointment of what was a substitute teacher that never took the position. We do have 2 leaves to ratify that happened during the course of the school year. One is for 5 unpaid leaves for an employee in the food service department. The second one is for 2.5 unpaid leave days, and that's for an aide at the elementary school. Item F is to allow additional days for some of our contracted employees that in the contract there's 189 days. The board extends days for them to work to be able to help complete summer tasks. In this case, to help prepare for the start of the school year, to do evaluations. And so for our school psychologists who were here this evening receiving an award, we extend those 10 days. For our high school guidance counselors, it's 9 days. And then for our other guidance counselors, middle school, intermediate, and elementary, it's 2 days. That is something historically we've done. And so we're asking you to consider that for this year as well. Item 2 under F2 is to approve the annual salaries for the Act 93 group, the supervisor, confidentiality group, and our support staff. So that is the full list of all our employees that would be in those categories. Item G is to approve my increase and rating for the year of distinguished. And so I greatly appreciate the board's continued support. This is always an opportunity. It's a little awkward because you're approving me and I'm talking about myself. So that's the awkward part. But I do just want to take a moment and thank the board for your willingness to support me, for your ability to give me this increase in the rating distinguished. It continues to be an honor to work in this school district. I'm blessed to be able to have such a wonderful team that you've helped to develop, and also to work with you as school board members. I tell this to everyone, but we have a phenomenal school board. We have a phenomenal relationship with our association. We have a phenomenal team here. So I'm really proud of everything we've been able to do here as a school district. And I think the goals tonight speak to some of those pointed things that we were able to accomplish, but also just the overall leadership and tenor of the school district. I'm just thankful for everything that you've been able to do and support me in that process. So thank you.
Thank you.
Item H is the approval of the support staff rates. So that is in there. We're asking to keep those the same. Item I is to approve the starting rates. There is a increase. The one increase that we thought was a little bit out of kilter was the administrative staff rate, and that's $16 per hour. We're asking to move that to $17.25, but that would then subsequently be transitioned to a salary. But that is the equivalent of what the starting rate would be. Item J is to approve the employee handbooks. The faculty handbook for our professional staff is the first one. And then item 2 is the support staff and then supervisory confidentially staff handbook. That handbook is a complete rewrite under Nicole's guidance with Mrs. Aga. It needed a whole refresh, and so I give them a ton of credit for being able to pull that off and have that in front of the board for this evening. And then finally, item K is to approve Mr. Reed to be the mentor for our new physics teacher, Mrs. Sheets. And that is the end of the first.
Questions, comments?
Yes, I have a couple of quick questions. So under B, change of status. So this is page 11, I believe, items 3 and 4. So 2 teachers retiring. What's special about October 23rd? So it's the end of the first marking period, I believe. But why is that coming up? Like, is it a PSERS deadline or
So when we did the retirement incentive
Mhm.
this past year, staff could retire through the start up till the first quarter. And so there's 3 staff members that retired, that put in their letter of retirement in December, retiring that first quarter, primarily tied to Peters and getting their 35 years of service. So
I was going to say a lot of times people will not have a complete year at the end of say June. Say if they're a teacher, say if they had throughout their 30-year career, they had an unpaid time. They went out, took a leave for whatever reason, and that leave wasn't eligible for PSER service. So they might have 34.8 years. So like we allowed them the opportunity to essentially complete that year.
Okay. And we have legitimate, constructive, helpful work for them to do in that first marking period in these positions you're naming for them.
So we're going to put them in the intervention specialist roles as well as substitute roles, because what's going to happen is the intervention specialists do a lot of pre-assessments at the start of the school year, and they're going to work with those current employees to help speed that, which means that we can evaluate and then get those services in place quicker.
Excellent.
So when she's done, there won't be an elementary interventionist like her position. You're just going to eliminate them.
Right. Yeah. It's just a fill in for now. And to their credit, they didn't want to start a classroom, particularly at the kindergarten level.
Yeah.
Because that's an awkward transition. And she didn't want to do that for the students. So
Absolutely.
She specifically requested that, which I thought was very thoughtful for the students and putting the kids before herself.
Absolutely. Okay. Next quick question, bottom of that page under the seasonal painters. So Mr. Hoffer, the bio says that he runs his own company, and I don't see Dean anymore. So this would have been maybe a question for Mr. Molatoris, but this gentleman runs Jarhead Construction or something like that, according to the bio. So I quick did a Google or whatever. So I'm just curious how someone who runs a full-time company is going to be a full-time painter for us at $25 an hour. And I don't know if the right guy is here to answer that question anymore.
I may have to get back to you, but I'm almost positive the answer to that is he is the Fleetwood security officer. And so he's working during the school year. And so he's not doing that security officer work during the summer.
Okay.
Which allows him to do this.
Which makes sense,
He does
but
have a team. I know who it is. I didn't realize.
oh, okay.
He does have a full, like,
So he's not a working owner like day to day on every
He does.
construction job.
not everyone. He does, but he has people that he brings in for that stuff. So
Okay. All right. But obviously we feel confident that he's going to put in his 8 hours a day here in addition to whatever he does as a second job in his other life.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
as he would at Fleetwood during the school year.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So page 13, Andrew, I think this is something you can address. Letter I, you mentioned that the administrative assistant position you're recommending to go from 16 an hour to 17 and a quarter. But what seems weird to me is then you turn that hourly wage into a salary. Why would it not just be presented as an annual salary? Like, why do we have it here as an hourly wage when it's a salary?
We talked about this. That's why we're chuckling. Like we
Okay.
were back and forth, quite honestly.
Yeah, so we did. It was more so for comparative purposes, and then also our administrative assistants. Some are 206 days, and some are 206, and some are 260. So to put it as an annual salary, you would have had multiple rates. So it was easier just to break it down back to hourly. But going forward, next year we'll be able to have 206 and 260 salary from one year's salary to the next year.
Yeah, because it's the same title position, administrative assistant, but it's really a different scope of work.
Yeah, because
So therefore different salaries.
Yeah, some are 10 months, some are 12 months.
Right. Okay. All right. So you're on that. Those were my questions. Thank you for indulging.
Any other questions or comments? Could I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Reitmauer,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Wallizer. Yes. Mrs. Eisenhart,
yes.
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Hohenschel,
Yes.
Mrs. Here,
Yes.
Mr. Wagman,
Yes.
9 yeas.
Anyone from the audience? Hearing none, I do need to make an announcement. As you know, we have an executive session in the middle of the meeting. And backed by popular demand, we will have a very brief executive session.
Hard pass.
After the meeting.
I got a question.
Oh, yeah.
Can we send out a district-wide email saying how awesome we're doing with our technicals? Like, it's been Antina, then us for like ever, then Gilbert took over for us, and now Exeter took over for that spot. I think that's awesome, and who's the next one to get knocked off?
Well, why don't we wait till we get further down that list?
And if we're gonna brag about ourselves, let's brag about our programs and our academics. Let's not brag about our own.
So to that point, though, in our newsletter, that is the spotlight on that we bring over. And there's several components to that. That is the website.
So moved. Second, Stubis.
Bingo. We will